Hello? Hello? First, there's an introductory greeting from the company that I'm supposed to read. It's kind of a legal thing, you know. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for damage to property or person. Upon discovering that damage or death has occurred, a missing person report will be filed within 90 days or as soon as property and premises have been thoroughly cleaned and bleached and the carpets have been replaced. Blah, blah, blah. Now, that might sound bad, I know, but there's really nothing to worry about.
Fazbear Entertainment is one of the most important pieces of the FNAF storyline, but they're often undermined in favor of the founders of the company rather than the overall corporation. But I'd be hard-pressed to believe that William Afton is the only bad actor at Fazbear Entertainment, because ever since the first game, the overall management of the corporation has always seemed really off. In fact, one of the first things we're told on the very first night of FNAF 1 is that this company does not care about you and will not feel liable if you die here.
Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for damage to property or person. Upon discovering that damage or death has occurred, a missing person report will be filed within 90 days or as soon as property and premises have been thoroughly cleaned and bleached and the carpets have been replaced. Blah, blah, blah. Now, that might sound bad, I know, but there's really nothing to worry.
They don't necessarily give off the vibe that you're in good hands. But I personally feel like this was a shift that happened with them at some point in the timeline, and not something that's been there since the beginning. Because in FNAF 2, we see a very different side of Fazbear Entertainment. After the incident that happened at Fredbear's, along with the murders that happened at the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, they went to pretty big lengths to make sure none of that happened again, building all of the new toy animatronics completely around safety. But after all that money spent in the new security protocols amounts to nothing, with another murder incident happening, panic kinda arises in the company. But they're confident enough in their new systems that they don't think anything could go wrong.
Hello. Hey there, Night 4. I told you to get the hang of it. Okay, so just to update you, there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. We may end up having to close for a few days. I don't know. I want to emphasize, though, that it's really just a precaution. Fazbear Entertainment denies any wrongdoing. These things happen sometimes. Just as a side note, though, try to avoid eye contact with any of the animatronics side if you can. Someone may have tampered with their facial recognition systems.
Then when they find out that their systems actually went wrong and that it actually failed, they, freak out.
Hello? What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right.
So now after the huge investment into that new pizzeria down the drain, and with their budget lower than ever, so now they most definitely can't afford to have any more stuff like that happen again, but at the same time, they can't afford to get the precautions to make sure it doesn't happen again. So what's the solution that we see in FNAF 1? Legal loopholes! They now have to give constant reassurance that they are not responsible for anything that happens and you can't accuse them of anything. And we all know that eventually Fazbear Entertainment managed to regroup. I mean, how else would they be able to build a Pizzaplex in the future? But I think it's pretty clear that these habits they developed once their budget went down never really went away, and they're now constantly trying to cut costs even when they don't actually have to, leading to the very scummy business practices we all know and love from them. So for this video, I'm going to be trying to put it into perspective just how bad Fazbear Entertainment really is. So let's start from the beginning. Well, not the beginning of the timeline, but FNAF 1. So during the events of FNAF 1, Fazbear Entertainment is struggling. After 2 sets of murders, the newspapers in FNAF 1 say that they've been spending about a year searching for a buyer to no avail. But we know that buyer did come eventually, but we also know that the pizzeria closed down before that buyer came. Because in FNAF 3, we see the FNAF 1 location abandoned in the minigames. The FNAF 1 newspapers say that William Afton was caught and arrested after the murders. So to tell this part of the story, I'm gonna have to make you imagine what William Afton's method to escape prison was. And I personally think that William Afton flushed himself down the toilet and then escaped through the sewers all the way to the pizzeria sewage, and then popped out of the toilets in the pizzeria, and then he came and destroyed the animatronics. That's personally what I think. Or if you want to be lame, I guess he could have just not gone to prison in the first place and they could have gotten the wrong guy, but I'm gonna say he went to prison because I wanted to talk about him going through the toilets in the sewers because I thought that was funny. It reminded me of that one Roblox game. But anyway, after the ghosts scare him and get him into the Springlock suit and then he kinda dies, we know that there was a 30-year gap between then and 2023 with the events of FNAF 3. But was Fazbear Entertainment dead during this whole 30-year gap? No. I suspect that sometime during this 30-year gap is when Fazbear Entertainment was actually bought out. Because as we know from things like the Fazbear Frights books, there are Freddy Fazbear's pizzas all across the United States. But all these clearly weren't around during the earlier parts of the timeline. They had to have emerged during this 30-year gap. Along with this, Fazbear Entertainment also branched out in becoming a pretty large and successful toy company. So with all this increased exposure onto the brand now that it's been revived, it's no wonder that all their shady backstory and urban legends have been dug back up, which would obviously lead to the creation of Fazbear's Fright. More support for all this comes from something that Phone Dude says.
Now let me tell you about what's new. We found another set of drawings, always nice, and a Foxy head, which we think could be authentic. Then again, it might just be another crappy cosplay.
A cosplay, you say? Another crappy cosplay, you say? Implying that you've seen multiple at this point? These must be quite popular and relevant characters for those cosplays to be so common. But anyway, yeah, the Fazbear brand was definitely alive and well during that 30-year gap. And we all know what happens after Fazbear's Fright. Building burns down, Springtrap gets set loose, and now Hurricane Utah has quite a few cryptids on the loose. So now, Henry. You know, like the co-founder of Fazbear Entertainment, he's a little bit important, kind of. I mean, he just kind of disappears early on in the timeline. I don't know. Was he still working at the company during that time, or did he come back to make the FNAF 6 location? I don't know. Either way, he's here now. And we all know what he was there to do. He was there to open up a Fazbear franchise, which I can only assume was the standard at the time for the brand. As in, whatever year this game takes place in is probably when the Rockstar animatronics were the primary animatronics to be found at all the locations. And this game is one of the best showcases for Fazbear Entertainment as a company, because there's just a lot of really funny stuff about them here.
You've saved money your whole life. Great! Now it's time to put all your eggs into one basket and take a huge gamble on your future. A gamble that comes with a 100% chance of success in some cases. Something almost anyone can do with a limited degree of success. Sure, it's a lot of money to invest, but everyone's doing it. And that means it's safe and lucrative. With your
The deceptive marketing to encourage gambling from them goes beyond claw machines.
Cutting corners is just good business. But there are steps you can take to ensure you don't get sued for it. And that brings us to liability. Being a thrifty shopper is smart, but be aware that buying things on sale comes with a certain amount of risk. Aside from the daily risk of lawsuits, there's also the risk that something might be hiding inside whatever you just purchased with that steeply discounted price tag. Of course, that would only be a serious danger if there were something outside that's been trying to get in for months now, which we are not confirming to be the case. This concludes the amount of help we're legally obligated to provide.
I mean, it speaks for itself, really. And there's plenty more within this game, such as the lawsuits, which I'll just, flash across the screen right now, because, I don't really want to spend the time reading them out to you guys, but, there's some stuff in here. One cool thing that's confirmed in this game is that if an employee finds out about something they're not supposed to, Fazbear Entertainment will lobotomize them.
Congratulations! You went somewhere you weren't supposed to go, saw something you weren't supposed to see, and prevented a tidy resolution to a messy problem. Needless to say, you're fired. But before you go, take this certificate of insanity. We're giving it to you to ensure that no one believes you, and to ensure that we can promptly replace you without incident. There is a truck waiting for you outside. Take care.
But yeah, the iconic ending of FNAF 6 concludes with this statement.
Here at Fazbear Entertainment, we value fun, family, and food. But more importantly, we value our commitment to atoning for past mistakes and tying up loose ends. Thank you for your participation. There is no need for you to return to work next week, as Fazbear Entertainment is no longer a corporate entity.
And, considering the plot of future games, that statement is just a flat-out lie. So now this either means that Fazbear Entertainment is lying to you, or this was retconned in order to continue the series. I'll let you be the judge, but I'm just gonna say, it doesn't really make sense for a chain that goes across the country to just end randomly because of one thing. If anything, now that everything's cleaned up here, you'd think that they'd want to continue. And as it turns out, they did want to continue. So then they hire an indie developer to make games based off of the urban legends to pass it off as kind of, oh, this is just a spooky ghost story, none of this actually happened. But that completely backfired on them, as this unofficial product making light of what happened made people actually believe it more than they did already. So what was Fazbear Entertainment's solution? To create their own product that passes off all their own tragedies as jokes.
We know that Fazbear Entertainment has developed something of a bad reputation over the last few decades, and while it's true that some stories associated with our name were loosely based on actual events, the majority of them were total fabrications from the mind of a complete lunatic. Lawsuits pending. But we aren't above laughing at ourselves. Ha ha ha. That's why we have recreated many of these completely fictitious scenarios, lies, that you've been fed over the last several years into a hilarious VR game, in the hopes that we can finally move past these childish ghost stories and develop a new relationship with you, as well as your kids. Don't forget the merch, perfect for birthdays. So sit back and enjoy a few scares.
Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say how messed up this is to not only the people who died, but also all their family members and everything. This is just, like, extremely disrespectful of them. And just really demonstrates how low they're willing to go to continue their revenue stream. This start to acknowledging their past will lead to them profiting off of countless characters that they wouldn't have even thought about using earlier. Circus Baby being introduced into the brand again. Springtrap being used as an official Fazbear Entertainment character. You know, like the real-life serial killer in this universe who killed, like, dozens and dozens of children. Yeah, sell plushie of him. And the best part is they do not plan to do anything substantial with these characters. And just want to profit off of these tragedies through the means of cheap plush toys and crappy arcade games. Like, you don't see a cool new version of the puppet at the Pizzaplex, but you do see plushies of the puppet there. Their real goal with Help Wanted was to introduce these urban legends into the brand and effectively profit off of these tragedies tied to their name. Which means they can drive more business into their multi-billion-dollar Pizzaplex that they are building at the moment. And you may be asking, well, how did they know about characters like the Nightmare animatronics? Well, let me tell you about a theory that is going to blow your mind. One of the major plot points in Help Wanted is that Fazbear Entertainment used basically everything they could to reference to create this game. Everything they had in storage, they scanned it into the game or used it as a reference material. Those old security logbooks that would be at the old pizzerias would include the ones owned by Michael Afton, the ones where he draws characters like Nightmare Fredbear. There you go, guys. I just answered the age-old question, why are the nightmares in Help Wanted? There we go. But now on to the major part of the video. How Fazbear Entertainment's greed and negligence led to the revival of their serial killer. And how the true villains at this point in the timeline is Fazbear Entertainment. Now before we continue on with the video, I'd like to slide in here that I have quite an exciting announcement coming soon. So, let me just slide down onto the screen a little bit here so you can get a sneak peek. Yeah, make sure you turn the notification bell on for the channel so you don't miss this awesome announcement when it comes on. Alright, back to the video. In the game Security Breach, we learned the worst about Fazbear Entertainment that we have thus far. Replacing employees with robots left and right, hiring people without background checks, which, to be fair, they've done that before. Some extremely scummy, probably illegal business practices, like how they handle Faz cams, which I'll play the clip now.
From the security office in the back hallway, since there is no flash photography allowed in Monte Golf, Faz cams are often confiscated here, mainly because they are only sold in Monte Golf. It is a very clever marketing plan.
Heck, the entire location of the Pizzaplex in construction was literally just an excuse to save money on property because they can just build it over a property that they already own with the Pizza Sim location. The location in question was in a sinkhole, which they promptly built a racetrack over, which I don't even have to explain why that's stupid. And now this next part, if you want a thorough breakdown of it, I recommend watching one of my previous videos, because it has a lot of info on that stuff, but I'll try to sum it up here. One of the major themes tied to Fazbear Entertainment and Security Breach is replacing humans with robots, and that goes as far as even the creative team. Which in the Tales from the Pizzaplex story, the storyteller, they try to replace their creative team that, creates the shows and everything, with an AI program that will create it for them, which kind of predicts what companies are doing right now, but they install a program into the Pizzaplex's systems called the Mimic 1 program. Now, the Mimic program, I already made a whole video on this, so I'm not going to explain it all the way through, but the Mimic 1 program is where Glitchtrap came from, and this program is trained to act like William Afton, and they just installed it into the Pizzaplex's systems, which is why all the animatronics start acting bad, and why all the arcade machines start glitching, and all of that. They basically just installed Glitchtrap into the Pizzaplex's systems. Them wanting to dig up stuff from the past to profit off of it for their VR game and clean up their reputation led to the Glitchtrap virus entering Help Wanted, which got Vanessa possessed. And their greedy desire to cut costs and replace employees led to Glitchtrap getting installed into the Pizzaplex's systems. And these two factors combined led to them resurrecting the evil from their past, even putting all their agony-infested haunted objects on display in Rockstar Row, which eventually led to the creation of the Blob. Nearly every bad event in the recent FNAF timeline can be traced back to Fazbear Entertainment. They are a terrible, evil company that will do just about anything for money, no matter how messed up it is. If they can get away with it, they will do it. Fazbear Entertainment in the current FNAF series is a big parody of megacorporations, and just how ruthless and out of touch they can be. We don't know who the CEO of Fazbear Entertainment is, and I don't think we ever will. We've only ever gotten one quote from them, which was all the way back in FNAF 1. And it's honestly pretty damn ominous. Quote, "These characters will live on. In the hearts of kids, these characters will live on." And while this is creepy, it does say a lot. Something that seems present in Fazbear Entertainment since the beginning is that they seem to really, really value their characters. From the rules of safety saying not to touch Freddy, to the anger in Han Yun's voice when people leave stuff on Freddy.
Welcome back to Parts and Service. It looks like one of our guests left a personal item on our star attraction.
To Phone Guy making sure to tell us to respect the characters in the Night 1 phone call.
So remember, these characters hold a special place in the hearts of children, and we need to show them a little respect, right? Okay.
And a big part of that is the sort of pseudo-sentience a lot of their animatronics seem to have, even the ones who aren't necessarily possessed. And their confidence in this technology led to the creation of things like the Fazbear Funtime service, which, questionable of its canonicity, is worth mentioning nonetheless.
It's guaranteed. With our exclusive animatronics, you'll always have someone watching your back. They'll provide you with hours of fun, entertainment, and companionship. You can't hide from a future of fun. Our special delivery will make you jump from excitement. Subscribe today. Don't miss this opportunity. And remember, we're always watching out for you.
And their confidence in artificial personalities is brought to the extreme in FNAF Security Breach with the Glamrock animatronics, who have such realistic personalities and emotions that they can basically be counted as their own people. But this doesn't seem to give them any further regard for them. Just look how Vanessa treats Freddy for potentially disobeying.
Gregory, are you there? Gregory?
Vanessa, all the fast watches sound like me. It is the default voice option.
If you're part of this, you're scrap. Monty will run the shows until parts and service can slap your casing on a new endo. Hang out here for a while. I gotta find that kid.
Vanessa, do not leave me like this!
So they seem to have some pretty mixed emotions between being extremely proud of their animatronics, while also treating them no better than any of their employees. Something that they do that is most definitely 1,000 billion% illegal is that their fire exit at the Pizzaplex is only accessible to VIP members, which is... How did they get away with that? Not to mention how it's the only one in the building.
You found the fire escape. Unfortunately, I do not think there is a way to reach it without becoming a VIP. It is not a very good emergency system. You are lucky there is not a fire. I have lodged a formal complaint.
Freddy, the doors are all locked. I can't get out of here.
Get to the elevator. Find a safe path on your fast watch.
Then, of course, there's the extremely questionable food there that, doesn't look the most edible. Their laser tag guns are strong enough to cause paralysis.
No shooting fast blasters in, near or close to other players' eyes. Being flashed in the eyes may induce seizures, blindness, or semi-permanent paralysis.
Let's see, if the animatronics are sentient, does that make all the endoskeletons essentially just prisoners? Cause I feel like that might be a little messed up. A big thing from Security Breach that the Tales from the Pizzaplex books reveal is where the Sun and Moon animatronics came from. They originally weren't even meant to be like the daycare attendant. They were originally meant to be stage animatronics where the Sun and Moon transformation occurs during a stage show. But the animatronic was poorly reprogrammed into being a daycare attendant, and their solution to not being able to get rid of the moon was to just never turn the lights off in the daycare. So this highly sensitive animatronic that was originally meant to not even touch guests in the first place is being put in charge of watching toddlers. And of course, their extremely unreliable security system.
You found a security badge. For every badge you carry, your security access increases. It is an odd system which would be easy to exploit. It seems like an untrustworthy person could take advantage of such an obvious security weakness. But I highly doubt anyone would be that dishonest.
Back to the Sun and Moon thing. The Moondrops and Sunny Drop candies seem kinda strange, mainly the Moondrop candies. Cause the Moondrop candies, basically what they are, is just a really high dose of melatonin to give to the kids so they just like kinda pass out. And they would be given these when the lights go out. When the moon is out. You know, like the creepy one that probably would kidnap children. Why would they do that? There's even complaints from parents in the game saying that their experience with the moon scarred their kids so much that they will not sleep with the lights off ever again. There is a lot of stuff to uncover with Fazbear Entertainment. And I don't think we've even scratched the surface yet. And considering how a big reveal in Tales from the Pizzaplex is that Fazbear Entertainment's HQ is actually connected to the Pizzaplex, I think we might be getting to know a little more about them when Ruin comes along. And with William Afton finally dead in the recent timeline, I think it's pretty safe to say that Fazbear Entertainment is to blame for all the recent events, directly or indirectly. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and remember, big announcement coming soon, so make sure you turn on the notification bell and subscribe if you haven't yet, because that would be very, very, very highly appreciative. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.